Rugby freestyle warm-up game. They will have 20 students in my class, and they will be separated to 2 groups. Each group will have 10 persons. The warm-up game will be played on a field. I will put 4 cones. The 10 persons need to play in the cone area. They will have 8 runners and 2 takers. The taker need to touch the runner to freeze them, and the runner need to run away from taker to avoid to be touched by taker. The 8 runners will be given 2 rugby balls. The purpose of the rugby ball is to unfreeze the runner. The runner who is holding the rugby ball need to pass the ball to their teammate to unfreeze them. If all the ball holders were taken by the taker, then the taker will be the runner and the ball holder will be the taker. Three versus 2 rugby touch minigame. This is the game before we start our activities. Students will be separated to 4 groups. Each group will have 5 persons. In a group, they will have 3 persons to attack and 2 persons to defend. The attackers have to bring the rugby ball and reach the touchline, and the defender have to touch the ball holder to stop them and avoid them to reach the touchline. The students will be warned that they cannot be rude in the minigame and have to take care of own and other safety. Tackle is an essential skill for winning the ball back or stop an attacking player. It is very important to complete a tackle with good timing and technique to prevent injury and accident. A tackle can take place anywhere in the field of play. The action of player involved in a tackle must ensure a fair contest and allow the ball to be available for play immediately. Next is the requirement for a tackle. For a tackle to occur, the ball carrier is held or brought to ground by one or more opponents. Being brought to the ground means the ball carrier is lying, sitting, or at least one of the knee is on the ground, and another player who is on the ground. Being held means the tackler must continue holding the ball carrier until the ball carrier is on the ground. Side tackle on knees. This is the most basic tackling drill, which begins on two knees at a walking pace. Once students are confident with this side-on technique, they can progress to performing it at a faster pace. This drill gives the basic of the side-on tackle, but teach it from the knees before being teaching from standing. The tackler should put his head behind the player, contact with the shoulder, wrap around his thigh and go to ground with the player. Side tackle on one knee. This drill is a progression from the side-on tackle. The tackler is now on one knee, which will prompt the tackler to put in more leg drive in the tackle. They should tackle with the shoulder and put their cheek on the ball carrier's thigh. Side tackler from squat. Here the defender tackles from the squat position with the attacker approaching from the side. This is a step up from tackling on one knee and allows more leg drive from the tackler. This drill is a progression from tackling from knees. The tackler is now in the squat position facing side on. The tackler must stand with feet shoulder width apart and keep his balance. He must then perform the same tackle as the tackler from knees. Making contact with the shoulder. Side tackler standing. The side tackler is used when a player in possession of the ball is running through a gap and gets horizontally in line with the defender. This is an important tackler because if it is timed right, it saves the tackler having to chase the ball carrier down the field and slow the opposition's attack. For a defender, it is very important that they keep their eye on the ball carrier, head up. As they go to tackler, they should place their head behind the ball carrier's leg so that their cheek is against the ball carrier's bum cheek. As they do this, they wrap both arms around the player's thighs. The tackler uses their legs to drive up through the ball carrier. They must keep a nice tight grip and try to fall on top of the ball carrier. Front knee tackle. This is the next progression in learning to tackle. The tackler attempts a tackle on one knee, but with the attacker approaching front on. The correct technique is important to avoid injury. This is used to introduce players to a tackle situation. This is used to practice tackling before tackling on feet. The tackler must keep their eye on the ball carrier and also need to make sure the contact with the shoulder, putting the cheek alongside the ball carrier tight. Squat tackle. This drill is a progression from tackling from knees. The tackler is now in the squat position, which will enable them to put even more leg drive and power into the tackle. The tackler must stand with feet shoulder width apart and keep his balance. He must then perform the same tackle as the tackle from knees. Front tackle standing. This is a more advanced tackling drill where the attacker approaches front on and the defender tackles from the standing position. The tackler must keep their eye on the ball carrier. As the ball carrier reaches the tackler should move their head to one side of their body. They should end up in the cheek to bum cheek position. As contact is made, the tackler shrugs their shoulders and then lifts the shoulder into the ball carrier ribs. The tackler wants to use the ball carrier's momentum to sit them down. With their arms wrapped around their thighs, as the tacklers sit on their bum, they should turn to send the ball carrier over their shoulder and land on top of them. 5 versus 5 tackle game. This is the last activities in our lesson. Students will be separated to 4 groups. Each group will have 5 persons. The game played by 2 teams in 1 match. The attackers have to bring the rugby ball and reach the touchline. And the defender have to apply the tackle skill to stop the attacker and avoid them to reach the touchline. Students also will be warning that they cannot be rude in the mini game and have to take care of their own and other safety.